computer. Nice.
All right.
Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and just kind of do like a little welcome. So my name is Fujica. I know most of you know me from the channel Simply Fujica. I am launching, and today is our very first, Chianeva, you didn't even know you are our maiden voyage, my love.
What?
We are launching a business over brunch. And guys, you know, fun fact about me, I love brunch. I love brunch because you can get breakfast items, you can kind of slide into lunch a little bit, but I always feel like brunch is such a good time to have discussions. And actually, the way this formed was because I was thinking of investing in one of my girlfriends, and we said, hey, let's discuss it over brunch. So that's why I came up with this business over brunch series. Guys, the whole theme behind this, the whole purpose behind this is because I'm talking to some of you ladies and some of you men too as well during my consulting conversations. And some of you are doubting your vision. You know, you're coming across different types of obstacles, whether it's just you're not sure about yourself. So maybe that confidence might be wavering a little bit. We're not sure about our finances. I wanted to speak to 5 different women so that they can share their stories. And so you can see how someone else also encountered issues, also encountered challenges, obstacles, but they were able to push through. Okay, so that's what we're talking about today. I have invited Chianeva here to tell her story. So we have a series of questions for her. And really, she's such a dynamic lady. I actually had a chance to work with her for a number of years at a previous employer. And of course, I was in California. She's from Florida. Anytime she flew to the office, it was a treat. Because as you can see by her lovely smile, she would just drop her smile everywhere she went. And definitely, I may talk about it if we have time, but really shared her pearls of wisdom. So Chianeva, I'm going to get this started. I'm going to start with just tell us about yourself. So that's your background, your life, your career, whatever you want to share.
Ooh, that's loaded, honey. Oh my goodness. I don't know if we have time, but let's see. I was born and raised in Miami, Florida. I was raised with my grandmother, Lala Brown. And when I talk to friends and colleagues and even my mentees, it starts with her. So I need y'all to understand that having a grandmother like that, an old Southern lady from Union Springs, Alabama, yes. Okay, who dropped those seeds in my life. And so raised with her in Miami, went to the University of Miami. I am a proud Hurricane all day. Okay, I bleed orange and green, just gonna tell you. And studied accounting there at the School of Business. And then I left Florida and moved to Atlanta. And that's where really my career started. I started out in public accounting, and then going in the private sector, you know, working where we worked together. Yes. When it was Ultimate Software, where we met and bonded. And really, when I think about the overarching theme of my life is change, yes. Right? Mm-hmm. Who I thought I was. When I think about 18-year-old Chianeva, you know, you think you're grown. Listen, I know what I'm out here doing. And then now fast forward to 45-year-old Chianeva, change. And who I was or who I thought I was. Yes. Completely different now. But I'm a mom of 4 girls, Destiny, Nyla, Anna, and Amara. I have a little zoo at my house. I got 2 guinea pigs and a dog. You know, I am discovering, or rather, let me take that back. The Lord is revealing me to myself, even now, right? So we'll get into that. But what I will say is that change is constant. And one of the things for me, and this is what I tell my girls all the time, you gotta learn how to be the palm tree. Yeah.
Yeah.
Lean into it. When the winds are blowing that way.
Yes.
Don't try to be stubborn. Look, learn from your mama. Don't try to be stubborn. Just lean into it, because while change can be scary and intimidating, because it's like, this is not where I thought I was going, or what I thought I would be doing, there's a purpose behind it.
Yeah.
So learning, over time, to just lean into it. Stop fighting it. Just go, go with it.
Yeah.
Because I've had wonderful experiences and met amazing people and have grown drastically from where my life has kind of wound. So
you know what, we're just 6 minutes into this, but that's already a gem, being the palm tree, because to your point, that wind is going 100, 200 miles an hour, and you may bend, but the beauty of it is you don't break. You don't break. No. And I think that's the biggest thing. Sometimes we stop ourselves. We stop that wind from pushing, but that wind is serving a purpose in that moment.
It absolutely is. It absolutely is rearranging some stuff. So the other analogy I give, because I'm a Miami hurricane, is the hurricane. And so if you know anything about the hurricane, is that there is this, cyclone, it's moving, the winds are circling, but in the middle of that storm is nothing but pure light. And so what I tell different people is stay in the middle. That's where the Lord is. Stay right there in the middle. I was like, he's like, you know what? You hear stuff breaking, you hear stuff being rearranged in your life. It's okay, because you're right. Look, it's gonna look a little different when it stops.
Right.
However, if you stay right here in the middle of the storm with me, where it's nothing but pure light, that's where I am. I got you. It's okay.
Yeah, it's okay.
It's okay. It's okay.
I love it. Let me ask you, we're going to go on to the next one. What led you to your career path? And I know it's probably changed a couple of times, but tell us how that started and then the different places it took you.
Okay. So it started in high school, right? So I've always been a math lover. I've always loved learning, but math was kind of my jam. And so one of my counselors said, you should be an accountant. That's what you should go to school for, because you love math. Listen. So I go to the University of Miami, I major in accounting. It's like literally a handful, because everybody's like, we're not doing that. Look, the majority of business school majors are like, not so much. And so really, but once you get into accounting, you realize that it's really not math. It's more law and theory than anything else. The numbers, the numbers are the easy part. Adding and subtracting isn't the issue. It's knowing how to do it and where it should go. That's the
those
issue.
accounting methods could get you in trouble.
You better ask somebody. So what it did do, and what I will say about the profession is it opens doors, because as an accountant, you get to see business and an organization the way most people do not, right? Because even though it's looking at numbers and you're analyzing numbers, but you're looking at everything. Operational, behind the office, you're looking at everything that generates revenue and expense. So you're looking at the whole company. So there's an education that you get from that. So I did the typical route that most accounting majors do. I started off in Big Four, Big Four accounting, where, you definitely learn a lot, but it's a grind. And one thing I will say about public is, while you definitely learn a lot, I think it takes a lot out of you. It took a lot out of me. And you're working a lot of hours. And mind you, I always tell, especially my young professionals, like, ooh, when you're in your 20s, child, you're at the height of your,
you're a beast.
You're at the height of your powers. And if you can understand and harness your value and understand what your worth is, you could demand a lot more in that younger body, because I definitely would have. Because that's I think that in a way, at least in this society that we live in, it's that whole, you got to pay your dues, but at what cost? And what cost?
Right.
So I did public accounting, and then I went into the private sector publicly traded companies, small companies, small businesses. And so, working my way through that maze, what I discovered is, wow, the numbers were fine. I love the people.
Yes.
Because the thing about it is that nobody does it alone. A business doesn't grow by itself, right? You need different talents and gifts, right? And I'm always fascinated by other people's gifts and what they're naturally just really good at. And so, winding through public accounting, which, I found was way too conservative for me, because I couldn't, I had to be a different person. And as you get older, you start to appreciate that, it's too much work and effort to be somebody else at work than I am in my real life.
Yep.
And it wasn't until, I would say my 30s where I was like, listen, this is who I am. I have these chicks at home. Okay. I have to be at PTA. I have to be at back to school. I have to do doctor's appointments and recitals. And so whatever it is that I'm doing has to fit in my life and not the other way.
Yes. Yeah.
And more importantly, because of the level of effort that it would take for me to be someone I'm not, this is who I am. Let me be comfortable showing you all my colors, right?
Yes.
And it may not work well for this environment.
You know what? Let me ask you something, because I think what you landed on is so key, because I think this is generational. This is a generational conversation, because I think our parents just would have did what they had to do to make it work. Okay. And then I noticed, like, for my parents, I saw a lot of pushing through. And then from somewhere along our generation and somewhere between our parents' generation, we started figuring out, well, no, I don't want to push through. I want to actually thrive.
Come on.
And to your point, I want to work, and I'm going to give you some good work now. I'm going to produce, but I do need to be at that PTA meeting. So was that a conversation with yourself? How did that work? Because I think some people who will see this will be like, oh, I can't have that conversation with my boss. So tell me what that was like for you. Can you dig deeper into that a little bit?
Absolutely. So it didn't happen, like I said, to my 30s, right? Now, and mind you, I started halfway. Let the record show, I didn't have my first child until I was 29.
Okay.
That was a little later. But it was actually, because once I became a mom, and I was like, this is a lot of work. It is a lot of energy, and because your priorities shift. And that's also a side note, that what's a priority for you now may not even be a priority for you 6 months from now. We can get into that one later too. But what it was I was like, I'm not a superwoman. I don't wear a cape.
Yeah.
And I had to let go of people either expecting that of me, putting me in that box, because we always want people in boxes, and being able to speak to what I needed, versus it's always normally we're being dictated to, especially as women in the workplace, especially as women in the workplace, right? We're always trying to contort ourselves around things versus being the one to initiate what it is that we need. And that's one thing that men do a lot more of than we do. So it was actually going into Ultimate, meeting with my future, who will be my future boss. And I'm saying, listen, okay, this is where I am in my life, right? I need to leave here by 5 o'clock, because if you late to picking up those kids, that $1 a minute will add up.
It sure will.
Okay.
I know what you're talking about there.
Right. And I got to get home because I got to get dinner. I got to do homework. There are things that are required of me. And so I'm not going to be here 6, 7, 8 o'clock at night. That's just not what you're going to get. What you get out of me, which I'm going to work hard for you.
Yes.
But there's a boundary. And so it's very important, I think, whether you are 19 and you aren't even working yet, to if you're, in your 40s, 50s, whenever, boundaries are important.
Yes.
Not just for you.
It's a good one.
But it helps people not, hurt themselves.
Mhm.
Boundaries are important and are critical, because it's about making sure that the priorities stay aligned.
Stay in line.
And that you don't allow things that aren't as important to distract you and take you away from the things that are important. And I think when COVID happened and the world shut down,
yeah,
that was one of the big benefits of COVID. Because I think people started to look at their lives a whole lot differently and realize, man, I'm missing out on a lot when I'm at this job 12, 13 hours a day.
Mm-hmm.
And
it was eye-opening.
Right. And then and me, again, the accountant in me, this math ain't math. And if I break down this salary, right, versus the number of hours that I'm putting in inside of work and outside of work for those, salary folks, where you have to work on the weekend sometimes. Does it make sense for you? And then also factoring in the people who are the most important to you, they're paying a cost too, because mommy's not there, daddy's not there. Mm-hmm. So I submit to you that there's a huge cost to that. And I think that people have started to look at their lives a little bit differently and start to demand a lot more.
Yes. Yeah.
Which
that's so true.
Which they were always deserving of. Let's just start there. They were always deserving.
Sure. Yeah. People are, I think, to your point, I think COVID did a lot for the business structure. And what people would and would not accept. Because I think COVID for a lot of us was a reminder of what was really important all along, and so I think a lot of us had to relearn what life was really about. I mean, I think for a lot of us, it was eye-opening in so many ways. Yeah. But you know what? One thing that you said too, that I think, I'm going to throw this out there. I can't remember, Yesenia, if you and I were having this conversation. I can't remember who I was having this conversation with a couple of days ago. But another thing that I think our male counterparts do very successfully is when they're at that job, they're there for a purpose. And they're not going to let nobody stand in the way of that purpose. And they are committed to that purpose, and whatever they do has to align with that purpose, or they're not doing it. Now, as partners, we could be frustrated because we don't feel we're getting the partnership from our peer at that time. But I love how people come in and they're very clear. And I think some of us, I'm just going to throw that out there, some of us go to work and hope and pray that us doing a good job will lead to more. And then we get upset when it doesn't. So I always tell people it's okay to put yourself first.
Yes.
It's okay to put yourself first. And when you go into that job, have a purpose in mind. You can't always be thinking about a check, because to your point, what is the end game here? The end game is not getting paid.
Right.
If Absolutely. It is, you're going to have to do a re-inventory. Let's take another inventory.
Right. And here's the thing. And if your goal is to get paid, are you getting paid for the value that you're bringing? Now,
that's right.
So let me drop this word.
Drop it. Drop it.
It's so capitalize. And I literally made a journal entry about it today, because we live in a society that has made it normal for us to be okay with others capitalizing on our own talents.
Yeah.
It's so my talent, it's my gift, but someone else should benefit from it more than me.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I was just like, ooh, okay. I was like, ooh, that one stuck. But when you think about it,
yeah,
right? When you go into a job, you're not thinking of it as, well, I'm the CEO of Chianeva Inc. and you're the CEO of Fujica Inc. And this is what you need.
That's right.
This is my skill set. This is what I'm providing. And this is what the market is for my skill set.
That's
for
right.
my experience.
That's right.
We're going into it with the mindset of, oh, I'm just so grateful.
Right. That's so true. That's so true. Yes.
No. Go in it with the mindset of they're not giving you anything.
No, that is so true. Yes. Yes.
They're not giving you anything. This is a barter. We're exchanging something here, right? And my thing is that if you don't value it, you can't expect anyone else to. And that can be from a job, that can be in your personal life. You have to understand your value.
Yes.
Because people are out here looking for discounts every day, all day. And they won't feel guilty. They won't feel guilty, not one bit, about taking you. You're worth $100, but if you're willing to, give yourself for 70, they'll take that.
They'll take it. Wow, can you believe that? I was getting ready to pay her $150. She said $70. Sold.
Come on. And because you know why? It's because we are uncomfortable demanding, right? We are uncomfortable. Oh, I don't want to tell them too much because then that'll turn them away.
Yeah.
Here's the thing. Here's the thing. They're making an assessment too, and not there's good and bad to the other side. Because I'm of the position of, if you know that a position demands a certain amount, don't lowball people. That says a lot about you.
You sure does.
Right? Or you capitalizing on either their insecurity or their ignorance. That says a lot about you when you have the power to do better.
When you have the power to do better, absolutely.
When you have the power to do better. But here's my thing. Shoot for it.
Shoot for it.
Shoot for it. Leap. Leap. And I want you to know who's telling you this now. I am the poster child of play it safe. Listen, when I tell you that the Lord has told me, Chianeva, you have played it safe my whole life.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, let me see these odds. Okay, no, I'm very conservative. No, this is too risky. Right?
Yeah.
But you have to be willing to come out of the box. Because if you don't, you're always going to be stuck in there.
You have to be willing to take a risk. Anyone who watches this, you have to bet on yourself. Bet on yourself. Take the risk. Take the risk. Bet on yourself. Absolutely. Let me ask you this. What has been your biggest challenge? And I want you to talk about how you navigated through it. So instead of letting it stop you, how did you navigate? What did you do?
Okay, well, the biggest challenge, and really, obviously there are going to be situations, but I think the common thread was the battle here.
Yeah.
Of you have this thought or you have this vision, right? This dream, right? And it's almost immediately, as soon as it comes, the buts come in.
The doubt.
But you don't have enough money. Do you know enough? Oh, it's gonna take right? Again, because it's that safe box that I know I've been in. And so the biggest battle, and it's really been a part of just my spiritual growth, and the Lord is so patient with me because
of course.
He says you need to follow that but with a yet.
Yeah.
Yet who are you?
Yeah.
Yet whose are you? Because I call him Daddy. Daddy says, I'm your shepherd. There is no failure for you. And so but you have to get to that understanding and belief that the person who created everything, you included, right? There's a purpose for me. And He's like, listen, it's not a gamble. It's not a gamble for you. I'm with you.
Right.
Really. And really, that's where I am right now, because I am looking to move my whole career right now away from this finance and accounting that I've been doing for 20 plus years.
Away from the box?
Listen.
Away from the box.
Listen, we need to do a whole session on, I told you, this is like the year of Chianeva-like things.
I love it. I love it.
The year of Chianeva-like things, because it's moving out of that box. Look, how they say you can't put baby in the corner. You can't put Chianeva in the box. And Daddy's like, I need you to come on out now. I have allowed you to stay in your little safety net for far too long. Come on. And that's what's been happening, because he's like, listen, go ahead.
Let me share this about my little one, because it's so perfect. It's so perfect for this conversation that we're having. Because when I tell you, you are born with everything you need. My little one was probably 3 at this time. He couldn't have been no more than 4. Okay. And so we had him in this little preschool. And when you needed a timeout, they had this little tape in in the corner. Okay, I'm just gonna say in the corner, and they had to sit in that tape. You had to sit in that square for 10-15 minutes, whatever it was. So we started saying, well, okay, a couple times I picked him up, he's sitting in the tape, right? But listen, they didn't say nothing to me, we didn't say nothing to them. Let me tell you what my son did one day. They told him to go sit down in that tape. Do you know he peeled it up? He didn't say nothing. He essentially, my 3-year-old said, well, what about if there is no tape? What if there is no box? And I said to myself, it was so funny. They called me and my husband in. They wanted to have a conference with us because he done peeled up the tape off the floor.
He's like, you're not going to box me in.
You're not going to box me in. Look how powerful he was at 3. Me and my husband, we looked at each other like, well, I'm impressed. Look, they thought we were going to be mad, but I said, no, I can't stop the king in him. Now, I will not do that.
Not do that.
I'm not stopping the king in him.
And let me tell you something. And when you know it, when you connect with the fact that you are dynamic, there is not just one adjective to describe you. You don't just have one gift. You're not just, singularly talented, right? When you think about the people that we watch, right? Because, I told you I'm watching the U.S. Open, right? So we're talking about Serena's farewell, which everyone's seen.
Yes.
Why is she so transcendent? Why? It's because she was like, I'm going to take these boundaries, right, that tennis had, and I'm going to just blow them up.
Blow them up.
Was it difficult? Absolutely. Was she getting pushback? Because change doesn't happen without challenge. Change doesn't happen without pressure. Someone has to be willing to take it on the chin for the cause. Someone has to be willing to sacrifice and endure, because no one changes voluntarily.
That's right.
The heat has to be applied, right? So when Serena and Venus came in and changed the whole look of tennis, right?
Yeah.
Someone has to be willing to do that. And when you think about change, whether it be in sport, whether it be in society, whether it be in your family, right? Someone had to be willing to endure and say, you know what? I am not going to limit myself. And that's why I say the battle here is one, because you have to know that you're not limited. You truly are not limited. It is what you believe and perceive about yourself.
Yeah.
And again, poster child of coming out of the box.
You know what? And I would dare to say, because we can all remember all the adversity and the pressure they went through. They didn't buckle. They didn't stop. They persevered. They moved forward. And I think anybody who's watching this, I think the pressure is an indication that you're doing the right thing.
Yeah. If you're uncomfortable.
It's uncomfortable.
Oh, yes. Because as human beings, we like to be in that comfortable, steady state. We don't want too much of wobble. We like that consistency. But if you think about your life, and I challenge anyone to just reflect on your life, the biggest lessons that you've learned and the growth that you've experienced was when you were uncomfortable, when you were in those turbulent times, when the fire was being applied. because how my pastor would say it, because the Lord is refining you.
Yeah.
There's certain things that have to be burnt away. There's certain, when he's pruning you, it's a little painful when them, them clippers come in.
Them clippers come and snap. Oh,
Like, oh, but you start to move different because you're learning and you're growing. And so my thing is that, for me, the one of the words that I was telling one of my friends is, I want that fire.
Yeah.
I need that heat. I was like, because what I've discovered is, even as I've been safe my whole life, I'm like, oh, is this living? No. And I had a simple request to Daddy when I prayed. I said, I want to live. And he said, okay. You have to be real specific when you talking to him. He gonna go run with it, because he did. And he was like, okay, I got you.
That is so fun. Because it's funny you say that. I just finished a Bible study, and the person that's doing the Bible study, they take us into Luke, okay, chapter 5. And this is, oh God, was it Saul? But anyways, he's fishing all night, didn't catch a thing, and Jesus said, well, you know what, come with me on in here to some deep water, right? And it's like, well, first of all, you don't fish in deep water. Second of all, I just done told you I done fished all night and I didn't catch it.
It's not there.
But look, he says, you come over here. And listen, I love how she says it, because she says, Jesus could have just been like, fish, get in the boat. And they all would have gotten the boat, right? But he said for him to cast out his net, you have to participate. And when he did, of course, we all know the end of the story. Fish upon fish upon fish upon fish. The boat started to sink and all that. But it kind of says, I love how she says it, because it's true. It's like, we pray and ask for these things, right? But when he says, oh, that's what you want? Well, come out to deep water with me. We like, well, I don't want to go over there. Wait a minute. Why can't you bless me over here?
Daddy, I didn't ask to go way over there. Didn't you say this is what you wanted? So how pastor would say, your blessings are on the other side of your obedience.
Yeah.
How willing are you? That surrender. One of my My Intent bracelets, I love My Intent bracelet, says surrender all. Yeah. It is a continuous thing. You have to do it consciously. It's not just going to happen. Surrender is very difficult. And so I also describe myself as a type A control freak in recovery. It's a 12-step program. I'm in step 2, I think. Right. But that's the thing. And when I was getting ready for our talk today, as me and Daddy were talking, or he was talking to me and I was paying attention.
Right.
He keeps bringing me to science. And it's so funny because I hated science in school. I just want to be very clear with y'all on that. Science was not my thing. But remember when you were in science class in elementary school, one of the things you learned is that matter is neither created nor destroyed. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And what that means is that everything that was, everything that is, and everything that is going to be already exists.
Yes.
It's already here.
That gave me chills.
It's already here. Mm-hmm. You just haven't discovered it yet, but it's already there. Yes. Right. And the beautiful thing is, especially for me, is that they're like, I can't show it to you all at one time. I'm going to take you step by step, because there's that obedience and that surrender. Right. Mm-hmm. But the key is that your success is there. Right. You have to know that it's there. Right. We're not waiting on Daddy. He's waiting on us. I need you to come on. It's this way. Don't
you keep going over there. I'm telling you, it's over here.
I know you can't see it, but trust me. Do you trust me? He gives me that question all the time. Do you trust me? Well, yes, Daddy. Okay, then. So why are you tripping? Come on. Let's go. Yes. Again, let's go. Yes. Reflect back. How many times we've done this before? Let's stop doing this cha-cha. I just need you to come on.
How long are we why do we continue to dance every time actually, how many times are we going to dance every time this situation calls for us to surrender? Yeah.
And that's why he keeps taking us. He's like, because I need to build that muscle.
Right.
Like anything
build
else.
That muscle.
And that's, one of the things I love about the journey is that there are levels, right? Just like if
Yeah.
you're a prize fighter, you gotta, you work your way up and you build these spiritual muscles, and because as you grow and as he takes you through things, he reveals himself to you. It increases your faith and your trust in him. And that's the thing. He's like, try me out. See what
Right.
happens.
Yeah. But it is a choice. But it
It's
is
a
a
choice. He's
choice.
not going to do it for you.
Absolutely.
Because at the end of the day, you have to choose this. You have to be willing to say, you know what? I don't know what's best. Me, I don't know what's best. I don't know everything. I can't see what's beyond that wall.
Right.
But
right.
he does.
Yes.
Right? He knows where to steer me. He knows where to guide me. And so that has served me well. I can tell you, when I wrote that first book, listen, I ain't never read a book before. I was like, he was like, look, but when I tell you that he gave me that blueprint, here you go. Yeah. This is what you're gonna talk about. This is what you're gonna talk about. Here are the scriptures you're gonna need. Again, because I still have to date to read the Bible from front to back. So let that be your testimony. That when he says that I will show you where to go and I will tell you what to say and I will tell you what to do, he does that. But again, it's on the other side of that surrender, right? Which goes against the worldly standard of, you make it happen. No, not really.
Not really.
Not really. Not really.
Let me ask you this. I don't even know if this applies to you, but what would you accomplish if fear was not a factor? Because do you have any fear?
Girl, listen, that's a daily battle, right?
Yeah.
It's a daily battle.
That's a good answer. That's a good, honest answer.
Yeah, because it's true. Because when you think about, because again, when you say how Jesus was like, come on out here in these deep waters where you don't have a consistent income.
Yes.
So So when you say, I know that it's the Lord that supplies this job and the means, and this job is just a means. Okay, well now we're gonna walk that out, because now I'm gonna tell you, come out from under there. You be like, wait,
my gosh,
look, you clutch the pearls, pearls. Okay. But I can tell you that he does that. I tell you that he does that. Because he said, and I do a new thing just because that's how I did it the last time. That's not how I'm gonna do it this time. I'm gonna hit you with, I call it the remix, when he hits you with the remix. Okay. But it's that, so we doing that? Well, I need some resources for that. He said, I got you covered and smothered. Don't worry about it. Got you covered and smothered. Surrender.
Faith. Because, I feel, here is the one thing, although you have the choice, he will not allow you to half step. So you either have the faith. Now listen, because I know you and I talked about the mustard seed before. He didn't say how much faith. Okay. But you do have to have it. You have the faith or you don't.
Yep.
You're going to surrender or you're not. Right. But we can't half step. You got to be ready. You got to be ready.
You have to be ready.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No. And the thing about it is, again, because, and this is what I say, you're fighting that flesh. Your flesh is like, child, you shall. Listen, whew. That flesh is like, right?
Don't you get out this box.
Because you know this box, right? And the truth of the matter is, we'll stay in the box even when the box isn't serving us, because it's what we know.
Yeah.
When the box is destroying us, when the box is belittling us, when the box is abusing us, we will stay in that box, because the fear of the unknown is greater than the fear inside. Even when the box is tearing you up inside. And so I would just say, it's gonna be okay. Because there is a reward for your faith. He acknowledges and he blesses that faith, because he understands that you had to fight this. And fight this to say, I'm going anyway. I'm going anyway. Listen, and knowing that Daddy is going to be right there. You are never by yourself. When And I was talking to you about my surgery, a couple months ago. And the Lord just would not let my heart be troubled, right?
Yeah.
He just wouldn't. He was like, listen,
Mm-hmm.
you are covered and smothered. Regardless of what happens after this surgery, I'm still there.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So, and it was that point when he said, regardless of the outcome, because it's not necessarily what you think it's going to be.
Right.
You're never alone. I'm still there.
Right.
I'm still there.
Right. Yep.
With you.
Always.
Right? Always. Even when it doesn't look like the way. Because we try to figure out how he gonna do it. Like, oh, okay, I see how he working this out. No, you don't. I see how this is gonna look. No, you don't.
No, you don't.
When you're starting a business and you're doing the journey and you're stepping out there, you have a vision, you got a business plan, and it's wonderful. Mm-hmm. But leave that room, that contingency, because if you talk to people, even you, where you thought you were going to be and where you are,
nowhere near.
Come on now.
Not at all. I always like to tell anyone who has watched my channel for a long time, I would even say 3 years ago, I would have never thought I would have my own YouTube channel. 5 years ago, I would have never thought I would have been self-employed. But can I say something though? Because I grew up in the box too. And I will say this, if I'm going to be completely honest, I have always wanted to be self-employed. I was too scared to do it. I was too scared to come out of that box. And I have to say, my husband laughs at me when I mention him, but I think he was the first person to plant that seed. Because I remember coming home and telling him I had just came from Atlanta. And I was telling him about all the stuff we were doing in the department, and we had to rebuild and reform and create this and create that. And his response to me was, that sounds great. Can you do something like that for us? We didn't have no business at that time. We weren't thinking about a business. I'm sitting here like, what are you talking about? I'm working for the company and I'm doing what they told me to do.
Right.
And he said, again, sounds great. Can you do it for us? I was like, I thought about it. Like, well, what would we do? But see, that's the faith. You don't have to know at the time what it is.
You just know that it's something else.
It's something else. Yeah.
When I was talking to Daddy and I said, I want to live. I said, because this ain't it. Get up, make breakfast, drop the kids off, go to work, get off work, pick up the kids, do homework, do dinner, sleep, repeat. Hamster wheel. Right? I was like, this is the most boring, right? It's just, and you take one vacation a year. And part of it is this society that we live in, because that's what we're programmed. We're going to work you till you die. And when I went to Italy, which I told you before, was life altering for me. Life altering. The lady at the TSA agent at the airport, she goes, where you from? I said, Atlanta. Oh, America. All y'all do is work. She said, but here we live. Yeah. And let me tell you the revelation that just came from this. Yeah. I prayed that prayer to Daddy 5 years ago about wanting to live. And where did I finally get to go in April of this year? To a place where they say we live, right? Because they understand that the work is just there. That's just, for you to supplement, but that's not the core and the essence. That's not the reason for being. Right. They value time. They value family. Dinner is an event in Italy. Like, I said, when I move there, I'm gonna have to adjust my eating habits, because I don't eat past 6. They don't start eating until like 7, 8 o'clock at night. And it's like 2 hours. And they're sitting there and they're laughing and they're loving. And it's with their friends, it's with their family. Look, we're random strangers. And I'm just like, man, you don't see this. Like, how often do you get to go out with your girlfriends? How often do you get to go on a vacation? Because it's a whole ordeal. It's a down payment on a house to just
right.
to just do these things that it should be the other way around. And that's the shift. You have to, again, what are the priorities for your life?
Yes, absolutely.
Right? What is the most important thing for you? Because while, you know, there's work, but there's a balance to that.
Yeah.
And that balance is not necessarily 40 hours a week.
Right. Correct.
That balance could be 30.
Could be 30.
Because again, that's what we've been
20.
conditioned to assume. That's what we've been conditioned to think. But when you go to other societies and other communities, it's viewed a lot different. And then the other thing that was, again, just blew all my brain. I was like, okay, that also helped blow me out of my box, by the way, was the passion in which they do what they do.
Yeah. Yes.
I'm doing this because this is what I am passionate about, not because this is what I do because I got to support my family. You know, when you look at how people talk about their work, how often do you see people who are passionate about what they do? The other reason why I'll keep using Serena as an example, because the US Open's going on, is because she's passionate about that tennis.
Oh, yeah.
That's her fire. That's her thing. That was the gift, one of the gifts and talents that the good Lord gave her. And she went with it ferociously.
Yeah.
So when I talk to girls, there's something that he gave you that I don't listen, that's not my gift, but there's something that he gave you that's your jam.
Yeah.
And you're gonna use that. Ask him how he wants you to use that.
That's right.
Because it's not just, you know, working, it's living and making a living with that passion for that talent and that gift that he's giving you. Yeah. Not just because someone said, well, you're good at math and you should do this. Right. Ugh. Ain't nothing sexy about it.
I was going to ask you more about that, but we coming close to our time, my love. This is what you and I do. This is what we do.
Come on. I got some time. I'll be a little late picking up in carpool. She better.
Okay, I do want to go into that. I know we have two more questions, but I do want to tap into this because, again, I just feel like this is really going to help somebody, because you just shared a moment ago that someone told you, oh, you're good at math, you should get into accounting. I remember going into schooling, and I'm gonna just be honest with you. I think I shared this with Yesenia last week. I got my education because my mom told me I should. Okay, I didn't really have a true love or for anything that I was studying, but my mom told me get my bachelor's and get my master's so I could have options. And God bless her, she's right. I do have options, so she was right. But I didn't feel anything that whole time I was in school. I'm just being honest, and I'm not. Like I said, I have the education, so I don't want anybody saying I'm not pro education. I have the education. I'm proud of it. But I think what you expect to feel or receive from that experience, it wasn't there for me. I'm just being honest.
It's not there for most.
Right. And so, but I'm wondering, why is it? And this is the question. I'm afraid that you answer it, Chianeva. Okay. You color this in for me. Okay. Why is it, we're going to school, we're getting our education. So we know that this is important, right? But we're walking around and we don't quite for sure know what we're doing. But we have presence of mind to say, well, no, let me go seek that higher education. And the reason why I really want you to answer that question is because I say a lot of people who have that. I had it. And so it's where you see other people, they're clear. They are clear from the moment they get that little high school diploma and turn that tassel out the other side. Yeah. They are clear. Some of us, it's like, okay.
That's it. Oh, I guess I got to go out here and get this job. It's a loaded question.
Yeah, it is.
Because here's the thing. I'm a person who loves learning. I love learning new things. One of the things when I was growing up, me and my granny used to watch Jeopardy together. I used to love Jeopardy. random facts.
Yes.
Right? Random facts. But for me, learning comes in different ways.
Mm-hmm.
Now we are conditioned that this learning happens, go to university, you learn these things.
Mm-hmm.
But the one thing that I say is that's not the only way. If you don't get anything else from this conversation that we're having, there's more than one way. Right? And my way, the road that I took is going to look so much different from yours. And so going to the university is not for everybody. It just isn't. And here's my thing. If you're in tune and the Lord has spoken and you already know, run with that. Mm-hmm. Go wherever he's leading you.
That's right.
Because wherever he's leading you, you're going to be just fine. Mm-hmm. Right? Mm-hmm. And because I was reading something, it's like most people are working or in a field that they didn't even get their degree in.
Right.
Because you don't.
Correct.
Because you think about it, you're 18. Like
mm-hmm.
9 to 16. So we're going to be going through this process soon. And she's like, Mommy, I don't know who I want to be. And I said, that's good. Because you don't know. I was like, but you know what? The Lord will reveal. The Lord will reveal. Yeah. And again, college serves its purpose, but there is no checklist for life, because we talked about this. If there was a checklist for happiness, then I should be extremely successful and happy.
That's so true.
I went to school, check, got good grades, check. Mm-hmm. Okay, graduated top of my class, did all the right things, check, mm-hmm. check. Got married, did that. Had kids, check. Mm-hmm. So listen, I should be where? In a mansion, somewhere, with my feet up, happy. But I wasn't. Why? Because, again, I was following the steps.
Yeah.
That society told me that I should.
That society said, do this and
do this. Mm-hmm. But then what I know now, the Lord was like, the worldly standards don't apply to me. The worldly standards don't apply to the Father that created me. It's like, listen, I created you to love you. I gave you certain things so that you can go and give it away and serve your community and give it to people. Right? We're all called to serve. You decide. You decide if you're serving self or if you're serving others with your talents and your gifts. Right? But you are called to serve. You're going to serve something.
Correct.
You are. And if you think about your life, you already do. Okay? And so, it's not a checklist. You're not a failure if you don't go to college, but you're also conversely not a success if you do.
If you do. That's so true. Yeah. We have to be honest about that. Yeah. We have to be honest about that.
Yeah.
Let me ask you, up until this point, now you mentioned you're working on the book now. I already know that you already have the book out, but I'm not going to speak for you. What has been your biggest accomplishment so far? So far.
Getting out of the way.
Getting out of the way.
I told you that I'm only on step 2 of the, type A control freak recovery plan. Right? But as you do the steps, you get more comfortable getting out of the way. I'm more comfortable saying, I don't know. But what I am confident in is that I'm resourceful, though. I don't know. I may not know today, but if that's what you need, I can figure it out. Always have been able to do that.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Being able to admit, right, that you don't know everything. Because again, it's that humility, right? And growing comfortable in that humility and being open about your scars and your wounds and your battles. I was like, listen, if someone hasn't gone through anything, I don't know how much I'm gonna learn from you. Because at the end of the day, everyone has gone through something. And not just one something, 3,000 somethings. There's always something. And so, but we are conditioned to hide our mistakes and hide our vulnerabilities. And fear that.
Mm-hmm.
That fear again.
Mm-hmm.
Fear. Any decision, this is what I tell my girls. Again, because I'm coming out of my box.
Mm-hmm.
Don't make any decision out of fear. Because whatever that decision is, it's going to be wrong. Period.
Right.
Unequivocal, it's wrong. Right? If you're afraid, run to it. Run to it. Because that fear is there. Now, it's not saying like, I'm not talking about like, go just jump off this cliff, base jumping. I'm not doing that.
Right.
The Lord didn't wire me down. You won't see me bungee jumping or base jumping, any type of jumping. That's just not my ministry. But it's, you have it. Everything. I'll go back to matter is neither created nor destroyed. Everything that you need is already here. Mm-hmm. Everything that you need, you already have. It's the recognition of that. Yeah. It's the recognition of that. And that is what's taking me through this season now. So as an accomplishment, it's an awareness.
Yeah.
It's an awareness of Chianeva. Mm-hmm. Just keep walking.
Mm-hmm. Just keep going.
It's there. Mm-hmm. It's there. You don't see it, right? But it's there. It's always been there, right? COVID didn't just happen, right? It was always there, right? Mm-hmm. Someone just discovered it. They're like, oh, it's a new disease. What's this? Okay, this is different, but it's always there, right? We didn't, as humans, those who have walked and those who are coming, they're not creating anything. They're discovering what's always been there.
Yeah.
And so when you think about life that way, right? The Lord's not expecting you to create nothing. You're not creating anything.
Yeah.
Right.
That's so rich. Yeah. That's so rich. You've been dropping pearls, and I think Yesenia is writing some of these things down. So we're gonna put it in the description down below, just some of the pearls that you've been dropping this whole time. And you've been giving advice this whole time. But what advice would you give to women trying to reach their goals?
Be bold.
Yeah.
Don't. Because whatever your wildest, and I'm an avid dreamer. You talk, when I tell my 24-year-old Des, I said, honey, when I daydream, honey, it's ultra high def, okay, honey, it's all, I got all the pixels. Okay. Because again, you can only go as far as you believe you can, and so take the limits off. Because what I do know for sure is the Lord takes those dreams, he takes whatever it is that your thoughts are, and he supersizes. You're like, ooh, like I didn't even know that was even possible. He was like, yeah, that's part of what I do. Right? Because miracles don't exist for the Lord. That's the term we use.
We use that, yeah.
For him, this is just another day at the office. Dealing with us, okay? Like, up here dealing with my children again today.
Dealing with these children that dabble in faith.
Right, because here it is that he created you. So you having faith in yourself is honoring him, honoring his creation.
Yeah.
Right? Don't, and you have to move past, because they're always going to be present, because that's the devil lies in the butts. But you can't, but you don't know, but you they will always be there. But you are dynamic and you are wonderful. And there are things about yourself that you don't even know. When Daddy told me, I'm going to reveal you to yourself, I was like, whoa, that's a statement. But he had, because there were things about myself that I didn't even realize that were there. Because again, matter is neither created nor destroyed. Everything that will be has already existed. You have it. You just got to tap into it.
You just got to tap into it. Tap into it.
Move past the fear.
My lady, we are at our hour. Do you have any final words before I close this out?
Listen, love your life. Live your life. Right? If if you were on that hamster wheel like I was, and every day just running to the next, and you just bored out your mind, right? You know, you don't feel any heat. There's no, you're not bumping up against anything. You're in that safe zone. Come out.
Yeah.
Come out. Come out.
Come out of that safe zone. And so first of all, I want to thank you. This has been everything I had hoped it would be and more. I think anyone who gets to stumble across this would be considered blessed. But this is exactly what I was visioning in my mind. Is I think I want to offer a space for people to really understand how to push through, how to make it, and really discover that, yeah, we're all here to do some amazing things. Amazing is not just for Chianeva.
It's for
all of us. And so I hope this has touched people. One thing that I wanted to say really quickly is in a couple of my videos in the past, I talked about your tribe, okay, building your tribe. And I was guilty of this when I was younger. I would have a tribe of people who were in the situation similar to me or might be a little bit under me. And we would all be complaining and talking about how come we not doing what we want to do. Okay. So I submit to you, you should have someone like a Chianeva in your tribe. Someone who is doing things, someone who is not afraid to be honest with you, but loving at the same time. You want someone who's going to be honest, but be loving with your situation. Be loving with where you are in this life, because honestly, we're all trying to just get through this life together. Yep. And so you want someone that you can bounce ideas with. Look, when I get to writing my book, I'm calling her.
It's going to be fun. It's going to be awesome.
But I want anyone who's watching this to know that you are created to do some amazing things. And when you were created with purpose in mind. Yes. So spend some time finding out what that purpose is, and then go after it. Don't let anyone stop. Don't let anything or anyone stop you. If there's a challenge that presents itself, figure out a way around it or over it, but don't let it stop you. By all means, don't let it stop you.
Don't let it stop you. And it doesn't matter where you start.
That's right. Absolutely. Absolutely. Yes, ma'am. All right, my love. Well, I'm going to go ahead and end this. You guys, if you haven't already, make sure you like this video. Make sure you like it. I'm going to make sure it's posted to the channel. Make sure you subscribe. Chianeva, I'm going to get some contact information from you if people want to follow you on Instagram or LinkedIn. I'll make sure to include all of that in the video description. But that's all I have for you guys. Stay blessed.
Bye, everybody.